ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्ता काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. Reading from Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 1, Chapter 33. Prabhupada and his disciples moved into crowded quarters at Ramananda's modest home, and about 100 people attended Prabhupada's lecture that evening. Prabhupada already had plans for a Radha Krishna temple on the Gorakhpur University campus as well as accredited courses and degrees in Krishna consciousness, BA, MA, and PhD. He envisioned graduates going out to teach Krishna consciousness in schools, colleges, and the temples all over the world. He inspired Ramananda and a group of his friends to form a committee to introduce Krishna consciousness within the university, and he initiated about 1 dozen disciples. Since they all professed to be following the rules against illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling and had been lifelong vegetarians, he waived the usual 6 months trial period. He asked them to chant 16 rounds daily and to make their city Krishna conscious. In his absence, they should maintain Ramananda's home as an active ISKCON center and try to establish courses in Krishna consciousness at the university. Banaras, February 6, 1971. Mr. Gaur Kishore was counting heavily on Prabhupada's participation in upcoming celebration. The climax of the week-long observance of Lord Chaitanya's visit to Benares would be a parade, Mr. Gaur Kishore said, and Prabhupada and his disciples had an important part in it. Newspaper articles, handbills, and loudspeaker charts had announced throughout the city the presence of Srila Prabhupada and his foreign disciples. The devotees sensed they were being treated like entertainers, expected to perform as if under contract but without salary. On the day of the procession, Prabhupada rode in a silver chariot, the kind customarily used in extravagant wedding processions. The chariot was pulled by a pair of white horses wearing silver crowns and decorative blankets. The leading float in the parade bore a 6-foot statue of Lord Chaitanya in yellow neem wood. Next followed a file of decorated elephants. One elephant carried a banner reading Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. One carried actors dressed as Lord Rama and Sita. Another carried two actors dressed as Radha and Krishna, who waved to the crowds, and another a picture of Lord Chaitanya and his associates performing Sankirtan. Next came a decorated flatbed truck with children portraying Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda chanting and dancing. Then followed a series of professional Kirtana groups and Prabhupada's foreign disciples dancing and performing Kirtan. Behind the devotees, Srila Prabhupada rode in his chariot. On either side of the chariot walked a devotee fanning Prabhupada with a chamara whisk, while Prabhupada sat with his right hand in his bead bag, his left hand on his cane. He was dressed in silk with pearl buttons on his kurta. A white patch of sandalwood paste covered his forehead. He didn't wave or smile or turn to see the crowds, but sat calmly chanting Hare Krishna on his beads. Following Prabhupada's chariot was a Shahnai group, several more Kirtan parties, and finally another statue of Lord Chaitanya carried by 8 men. The festival committee said 300,000 attended, double what they would have had without Prabhupada and his foreign disciples. The procession was over, however, as the star attraction Prabhupada had made his appearance and drawn a large crowd, and now nothing more was required. He felt tired. He and his disciples were taken to a nearby dharmashala and served a feast. Prabhupada remained grave and, as soon as possible, returned to his quarters and his regular schedule. A student at the University of Banaras who had met Prabhupada at Allahabad Mela stopped by to visit. The boy's father had given him a biography of Lord Chaitanya as a gift for Prabhupada, and when the boy showed Prabhupada a picture of his father, Prabhupada said, "Yes, your father is a devotee, so why don't you also take initiation?" The boy was hesitant. As he walked with Prabhupada in the garden, Prabhupada said, "You have got the seed of a devotional service from your father, so you must now cultivate." "But how can I shave my head?" the boy inquired. "I am a university student." "No, it is a custom. You should shave once, and then you can keep short hair." "But how can I wear tilak? They will laugh at me." Prabhupada said the boy should not fear criticism. He should become a soldier of Krishna. As the government honors its valiant soldiers, Krishna rewards a devotee who accepts difficulties and criticism on his behalf. "What about Guru Dakshina?" the boy asked. "Guru Dakshina is just a formality," Prabhupada said. "It was a custom in olden days that when someone gets initiation, he goes to the various homes. It is a sign that you have become a servant of your Guru. You are prepared to beg alms for your Guru. It is whatever you give." The boy returned home and told his father. The next day was an auspicious day. His father said, "The appearance day of Lord Nityananda, a good day to receive spiritual initiation." So the next day, on Nityananda Trayodasi, Srila Prabhupada initiated the boy, giving him the name Niranjana Das. When Prabhupada asked Niranjan if he had any questions, Niranjan said he wanted to know his eternal relationship with Krishna. Was it as servant, as friend, as parent? Prabhupada replied that servitude was the common ground in all transcendental relationship with Lord Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna, Niranjana would become more and more purified and realize more and more his relationship with Krishna. Niranjana asked how he would understand his relationship. "No, don't jump," Prabhupada said. "You have some Shraddha from your father, and now you are associating with devotees and chanting. Gradually you will realize." Niranjan agreed to be patient. Prabhupada asked Niranjan to arrange a lecture for him on campus, and Niranjan, with the help of his uncle, a philosophy professor, got Prabhupada a speaking engagement for his last morning in Banaras. On the day Prabhupada was to leave, he met with John Greaser, the American photographer traveling with him and his party in Surat. John, who had shaved his mustache and thought a lot about his future, came to say goodbye until Bombay, where they would meet again in a few weeks. John found Prabhupada in the courtyard, enjoying the sunshine and eating gur, date sugar, from a clay pot. Prabhupada asked that the pot be broken and distributed to John and other devotees present. And while John sat licking gur from a piece of clay pot, Prabhupada talked about his boyhood in Calcutta. John, Prabhupada was talking in his accented rhythmic English about his boyhood days in Calcutta, and he described a gracious city before the crowding and scholar of today. As a schoolboy, he had seen splendid Victorian buildings of white marble surrounded by stately lawn and trees. Suddenly, Prabhupada looked over at me and laughed. So, John, he said, I think Krishna has captured you. I agreed. I had known it for quite a while, but now Srila Prabhupada confirmed it. When Prabhupada was leaving Banaras to return to Gorakhpur, many of his disciples went to the wrong train station. While Prabhupada and a few followers waited at the correct train station, Kausalya asked him, how did you like it here in Banaras, Srila Prabhupada? It is all right, he said indifferently. Did you have a nice rest? She asked, trying to think of some positive aspects of the visit. Rest I can have any time, said Prabhupada, but I like to be with my devotees. Surrounded by luggage, Prabhupada sat on the bench while Tamal Krishna and Shama Sundara ran from the ticket office to the train and back. The train would leave soon, but where were the other devotees? Prabhupada watched as his spiritual sons argued with the conductor, telling him the train couldn't go until the other devotees arrived. They do not know what they are doing, Prabhupada said, and he smiled. Gorakhpur, February 10, 1971. On hearing that Prabhupada wanted to Niketan, who was a bedridden had first met Prabhupada in 1962 and he appreciated Prabhupada's mission. When Prabhupada received permission to use the Krishna Niketan, he acted quickly. It was not proper, he said, that the devotees of Radha and Krishna he had brought from Calcutta had been packed away in a truck after the Ardha Kumbha Mela. They had already been worshipped, so their worship should not be stopped. The deities have to be installed tomorrow, he said, and he put Kausalya and Nanda Kumara in charge of the preparations. Seeing that Nanda Kumar and Kaushalya needed more help, Prabhupada called for all his disciples, and soon 20 American devotees were scurrying about, preparing for the next day's festival. Prabhupada directed the devotees in cleaning the temple room from ceiling to floor and in building the altar. He asked Himavati to donate her fanciest sari, which he hung like a curtain before the table that was to be the deity's altar. The altar needed a backdrop, he said, and while Kausalya stood on the table, he handed her a piece of colored fabric to arrange against the wall. The backdrop completed. Prabhupada took a rug a devotee had bought in Allahabad and placed it over the table altar. That night Prabhupada surveyed the temple room. Oh, it is very nice, he said. He retired to his room and 20 devotees stayed up all night sewing cloths for Radha and Krishna. The next morning, the deities were placed on the altar and the devotees resumed their worship, offering them prasadam and arti 6 times a day. The devotees were living in a ISKCON temple atmosphere for the first time since they had arrived in India, and their lives began regulated and secure. The weather warmed, and the devotees, many of whom had exhausted their health in Allahabad, felt relief. The Gorakhpur temple was situated on several acres of agricultural land outside the city. It was a peaceful place. During the day, Prabhupada would rest as the sunshine came through the window and warmed his body. In the evenings, guests would come for Kirtan and Prabhupada's lecture. Speaking on the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada referred repeatedly to Sridhar Swami's commentary from the 14th chapter. Sridhar Swami said that simply by chanting, without any regulative principles, one becomes liberated. So, how is it possible? Sridhar Swami replies also that there are regulative principles. The idea is that chanting of the holy name is so powerful that it can immediately liberate the chanter. But because we are prone to fall down again, therefore there are regulative principles. Morning, noon, and evening, we should daily chant Hare Krishna mantra with devotion and faith. By doing this, one can avoid volumes of miserable conditions of life simply by chanting. So one should be so much careful and faithful. You should know that as soon as you are chanting, Krishna is dancing on your tongue. Therefore, how much careful and respectful we should be. Each night, Prabhupada would take the commentaries of Sridhar Swami as his text. So, Sridhar Swami gives this example that without knowing that there is a very nice medicine, a man takes so many thousands of medicines. Similarly, the great stalwart leaders of religious principles, without knowing this Hare Krishna mantra, take so many troublesome ritualistic ceremonies. Actually, there is no need. The whole thing is Sridhar Swami is giving the stress very strongly that you can simply chant Hare Krishna mantra without understanding any ritualistic ceremonies. Sridhar Swami's commentaries was filled with quotations from various scriptures about the supreme benefit of chanting the holy names of Krishna. Then Sridhar Swami says, Akhila Chestitam. That means that any endeavor for pushing on Krishna's glories, that is as good as chanting the holy name. When you go out for canvassing, for pushing on this movement, people might think that you are not chanting. But suppose you are canvassing for a life member, that topic is also as good as chanting Hare Krishna mantra because it is Akhila Chestitam. One's life must be dedicated simply for Krishna service. Speaking before his Indian audience, Srila Prabhupada also told about his preaching in the West. One evening, he gave a personal history describing how his spiritual master, on their first meeting, had immediately told him to preach Lord Chaitanya's message to the English speaking world. At that time, I argued with him that we are a dependent nation and who is going to hear about our message? So he refuted my argument. Yes, he was learned scholar. So what I was a tiny boy. So I agreed that I was defeated. Prabhupada laughed softly. Prabhupada told about his business years in Allahabad and how he again met his spiritual master and became initiated. He told of starting back to God in 1944 for taking sannyas and of finally traveling to America in 1965. He mentioned his struggles in the New York City and how the first boys had joined him when he started his movement in a storefront on Second Avenue. So practically, we began work for from 1968. In 1966, I started, but in 67, I became very much sick, so I came back to India. And again, I went there in 1968. Practically, this propaganda work began vigorously from 1968. From 68, 69, 70, and this is 71. So, 3, 4 years. All these branches have grown up, and now practically throughout the whole continent of Europe and throughout America, they know what is Hare Krishna movement due to our propaganda. Early each morning before sunrise, Prabhupada would sit in the temple room before his disciples and lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam. And each morning the lights would go out, leaving everyone in darkness. It was a typical Indian power failure, and Prabhupada would stop lecturing while a devotee lit 2 candles by his Vyasasana and 2 candles on the altar. Long shadows would mix with luminous gold of Radha Krishna deities, and Prabhupada wearing spectacles holding open the Srimad Bhagavatam in his hand would appear wonderfully mysterious. One morning, Srila Prabhupada sang a new song, Jaya Radha Madhava. I will teach you this song, he said. Reciting the first line, he had the devotees repeat it again and again. One line at a time, he went through the song, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. They should know it, he told them by the next morning. Only a few devotees managed to memorize the song, so the next morning Prabhupada went through it again line by line. During the evening lecture, he explained the meaning of the song. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Krishna is enjoying in Vrindavan. That is the real picture of God. Simply enjoying. The Vrindavan-līlā of Krishna is the perfect presentation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is simply enjoying. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, the cowherd boys, Maharaj Nanda, Yashoda, everyone is simply anxious how to make Krishna happy. They have no other business. The residents of Vrindavan have no other business than to satisfy Krishna, and Krishna has no other business. Yash- Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. He is acting as the little son of Yashoda, and his only business is how to please residents of Vrindavan. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. He is wandering in the forest of Vrindavan on the bank of Yamuna. This is the actual picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Brahma, Indra, big demigods, they are also bewildered. They are sometimes mistaken how this cowherd boy can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like some of us think like that. But those who are thinking like that, for them also there is manifestation of Krishna's supremacy. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Although he is engaged in pleasing the residents of Vraja, when there is a need, he can lift up the Govardhan hill at the age of 7, or he can kill the Putana at the age of 3 months. So, so many demons used to visit daily. Krishna used to go with calves and cows with his friends in the forest, and every day Kamsa used to send a demon to kill him. Aghasura, Bakasura, Dhenukasura, so many. Galile? So many. So also, Krishna is playing just like a cowherd boy. His supreme mercy as a supreme personality of Godhead is never absent there. That is God. God is not created by meditation. God is God. God is never manufactured. We should know this. On the third morning after introducing Jai Radha Madhava, Prabhupada again sang it with devotees responding. Then he began to explain it further. Radha Madhava, he said, have their eternal loving pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He stopped speaking. His closed eyes flooded with tears and he began gently rocking his head. His body trembled. Several minutes passed and everyone in the room remained completely silent. Finally, he returned to external consciousness and said, now just chant Hare Krishna. After this, the Radha Krishna deities of Gorakhpur became known as Sri Radha Madhava. Kausalya would regularly wash the temple floor while Prabhupada gave his Srimad Bhagavatam lecture. One morning, Prabhupada interrupted his lecture. Just see this girl, he said. Kausalya was down at the other end of the room, scrubbing. This is first class service. The next day, Prabhupada called Kausalya forward. Every morning you are washing the floor so nicely, he said. But this morning you are washing the floor like a crow taking a bath. Prabhupada shook his hand as if flicking water about. You do not know how to wash the floor. I am going to show you. Prabhupada came down from his Vyasasana and walked to the other end of the room, followed by all the devotees. Where is your bucket? Kausalya brought over her bucket. Prabhupada asked for a rag. She gave him hers. He then crouched down and started scrubbing. This is how you wash the floor, he said, with lots of water, and you do it a section at a time. It should be done in two stages. First with a wet rag and then with a wrung rag. The devotees stood in amazement watching. Several times Prabhupada repeated the procedure, washing a section of the floor and then drying it, carefully not to touch the clean area with his feet. See, he said, that is expert. When Tamal Krishna requested Prabhupada to move on to Bombay and bigger preaching, Prabhupada replied, let us see if Krishna wants us to have this place. Hamsadutta also became restless to preach, and Prabhupada sent him with a group of brahmacharis to Aligarh and Agra. Little appeared to be happening in Gorakhpur, but Prabhupada had plans. He was still negotiating with the university authorities for land for constructing a temple. If we are successful in our attempt, it will be unique in all the world, and soon more and more college campuses will follow. And if we can establish a seat of Krishna consciousness, then students may take their doctorate degree in Krishna consciousness and go out and preach all over the world. Prabhupada had three goals: to reach to Gorakhpur University students, to introduce Kirtan into the factories, and to introduce Kirtan into the homes. The main obstacle was lack of commitment from the local people. Many were willing to attend his evening lectures, but to actually surrender time, money, and energy in the service of Krishna was more difficult. At least the Radha Krishna temple was lively, and Prabhupada hoped the directors of Gita Press would turn the Krishna Niketan building over to ISKCON permanently. Prabhupada continued lecturing morning and evening. For 3 consecutive evenings, he spoke on a single verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, defeating the Mayavad argument that the absolute truth is ultimately impersonal Brahman. The Mayavadi philosophers say that the absolute truth is impersonal and that there is no direct and different energy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's challenge is that the absolute truth has got multi energies. Suppose someone has a big business, a big factory. So if the proprietor says, I am all pervading over this factory, that is correct. Take the example of Birla. This is Birla's factory. Birla's name is there. Although Birla is a person and he is not personally present in that factory, everyone says Birla's factory. That means Birla's money, Birla's energy is there. If there is any loss in that factory, the suffering goes to Birla. Or if there is any gain in the factory, the profit goes to Birla. Therefore, Birla's energy is there in the factory. Similarly, the whole creation is a manifestation of Krishna. Everything is Krishna, his energy. He is represented by his energy. That is called simultaneously one and different. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Discussing preaching in America, Prabhupada said the Western world was 99% in the mode of ignorance and passion. Although America was the richest nation on earth, its youth were becoming hippies, much to the dismay of parents and government leaders. So, despite their wealth, they were unhappy. They were ripe, however, for understanding spiritual knowledge. This is the causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Now you can see that these boys, when they are chanting, how they are in ecstasy. They are immediately on the transcendental platform. Not only here, everywhere they are chanting, in every temple. And the advantage of these boys and girls is that they have no hodgepodge in their head. They directly accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and they directly accept the instruction of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, they are making advancement. Their fortune is that their brain is not congested with hodgepodge ideas. They have given up all other occupations and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in India, we can also do it that. What is the difficulty? We must do this. Just accept this. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam and surrender unto him. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Prabhupada celebrated the appearance of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in Gorakhpur. At the morning gathering, he said, we should honor this day and very respectfully pray to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami that we are engaged in your service, so give us your strength, give us intelligence. We are being guided by your servant. So in this way, we have to pray. And I think in the evening we shall distribute prasadam. There will be so many guests coming. They can be distributed prasadam. Prabhupada said life members and other friends should be invited for the flower offering at noon. One of the devotees asked about the feast. Prabhupada, feasting means puri and halwa and a vegetable and chutney. That's all. Four things. Make it simple. Tamal Krishna, Prabhupada, you want us to offer a feast to your Guru Maharaj at noontime? A special plate of feast? Prabhupada, not a special plate. The process is that whatever we offer to the deity, that is offered to Guru, and Guru offers to his Guru. In that way, it goes to Krishna. We don't directly offer to Radha Krishna. No, we have no right. Nor does Krishna accept in that way. The picture of the acharyas, why are they there? Actually, you have to offer the plate to your Guru, and he will offer to his Guru. He offers to his Guru, his Guru. In this way, it will go to Krishna. That is the process. You cannot directly approach Krishna or predecessor acharyas. That is not possible. One day, Prabhupada visited Hanuman Prasad Poddar. Mr. Poddar had been gravely ill for some time, but he was able to sit up and speak briefly with Prabhupada. As the pioneer of Kalyan magazine, which printed installments of Mahabharata and other Vedic classics, Hanuman Prasad Poddar was a world famous patron of Indian religious thought. His inexpensive Hindi Bhagavad Gita translation and had been distributed by of millions so that even a poor man could have a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Mr. Poddar had been a friend to Prabhupada when in 1962 Prabhupada had come to him in Gorakhpur and shown him his manuscript for the first time of Srimad Bhagavatam. Appreciating the importance of the work, Mr. Poddar, by his word of approval, had helped Prabhupada get a donation for its printing from the Delhi industrialist Mr. Dalmia. Now, almost 10 years later, Prabhupada was showing Mr. Poddar his recent published books Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, The Nectar of Devotion, and his magazine Back to Godhead. Mr. Poddar was impressed, and he uh, and Prabhupada exchanged their sincere appreciation of each other's work. Mr. Suryakant Fogla. Harman Prasad Poddar was my grandfather. He was very much ill at the time Prabhupada came here to um, meet meet him in his bedroom upstairs. There are certain things which cannot be explained, but they were talking in the language of their eyes. My grandfather expressed some gratitude, some affection, some regard by his eyes, and Prabhupada's reply was also in the same way. The appreciation from both sides could easily be seen and appreciated by the persons who were present. A lot of Prabhupada's disciples were there, and everyone was almost in tears when those two saints, great people, met and talked to each other. They were talking about the spiritual world and they were praising each other of their deeds. My grandfather also was saying that what Prabhupada has done, it is unforgettable for anyone of the world. Because to take our Indian culture to the Western countries, the credit entirely goes to our beloved Prabhupada. And he was the only person who took Radha Krishna and the holy name outside in such a way that nobody else could and will be able to do in the future. Since Mr. Poddar was ill and weak, Prabhupada left after half an hour. Prabhupada had spent 2 weeks in Gorakhpur and now he was eager to go to Bombay, leaving two disciples behind to attend to the deity worship and to continue preaching in Gorakhpur. He left. ISKCON's Bombay headquarters was a four-room flat on the seventh floor of Akash Ganga building. Rent was nearly 3,000 rupees a month, and the devotees had no guaranteed monthly income. Yet, because the building was in a vital, prestigious location, Prabhupada had taken the risk. Such a headquarters would be a necessary base for the preaching he wanted to do in Bombay, and his next preaching would be a grand 11-day Pandal program. If you are going to hunt, Prabhupada said, then you should hunt for a rhinoceros. In that way, if you don't succeed, everyone will simply say, oh, it couldn't be done anyway. But if you do succeed, then everyone will be surprised, everyone will be amazed. As Prabhupada revealed his plans for a gigantic Pandal festival, the devotees became keenly aware that Prabhupada's inspiration was motivating all their preaching. Without him, they could never attempt anything so bold and ambitious as a giant Pandal festival in Bombay. Often, the American and European disciples had been billed along with him as if of equal importance, but the devotees saw themselves as only foolish servants trying to help the genuine, pure devotee of the Lord. Although Prabhupada created his disciples knew that Prabhupada was Krishna's empowered representative. He was their authority and personal link to Krishna. His words and actions evinced full transcendental potency. As Krishna was unlimited, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna's dearest friend, was entitled to demand unlimited service on Krishna's behalf. In the service of Krishna, no project was impossible. Impossible, Prabhupada said, was a word in a fool's dictionary. But as Prabhupada unfolded his plans for the Pandal festival, the devotees doubted how could they ever raise the money? How could they erect such a huge tent? Where would they get so much food? And who would cook it? Prabhupada seemed amused at their doubts. You are all Americans, he said. So, what is the use of being American unless you do something wonderful? A Bombay Pandal, Prabhupada said, would be the perfect way to link America's ingenuity with India's spirituality. He gave the example of a blind man and a lame man. Although separately they are helpless, by cooperating, the blind man carrying the lame man on his shoulders and the giving lame man giving directions, the two can work successfully. America, because of materialism and ignorance of God, was blind, and India, because of foreign invasions, poverty, and misinterpretations of Vedic knowledge, was lame. America had technological advancement and wealth, and India had spiritual knowledge. The job of Krishna consciousness movement was to combine the two strengths and uplift the world. And one practical application would be the Bombay Pandal Festival. Prabhupada divided the work, assigning Shyamasundara to publicity, Tamala Krishna to Pandal arrangement, Giriraj to fundraising, Madhudvisa to the scheduled program on stage, catching Prabhupada's spirit of shooting the rhinoceros. Shyamasundar organized a massive publicity campaign with giant posters and banners strung across the streets announcing His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada will speak in English language about the signs of God. Prasadam distribution and bhajan singing will be led by his American and European Bhakta Hare Krishna festival at Cross Maidan, March 25 to April 4. Giriraj. Srila Prabhupada took Bombay by storm. The whole city was alive with excitement about the Hare Krishna festival. We had banners all at all the major intersections in Bombay. We had posters up on all the walls, many posters on every wall, and we had very big advertisements in newspaper with a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada superimposed over a globe and the words Bhagavad Dharma discourses, a Hare Krishna festival, world preachers of the Bhakti cult, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Day by day, the momentum grew more and more, and every day something new was happening. Finally, in the last 2 days, we got a huge billboard at Victoria train station, the busiest intersection of downtown Bombay. By then, everyone knew so much about the festival and where it was going to be, and everything that all this billboard said was Hare Krishna in huge letters. By then, everyone knew. So, just these two huge words, Hare Krishna, was enough. Then Shyamasundar had arranged for a big helium-filled balloon that was attached to a very long rope at the Cross Maidan site. That balloon just hovered over the city, and there was a streamer attached to the balloon saying Hare Krishna Festival. It was real American ingenuity, flair, and dynamism. Inspired by Shama Sundara's lead and lead and taking up a spirit of competition, the other devotees worked at their projects with great enthusiasm. When Prabhupada called a meeting of the local ISKCON life members and supporters, the turnout was disappointing, only about a dozen, and even those on hearing the proportions of Prabhupada's plan became hesitant. The festival would cost more than 100,000 rupees. Although some life members doubted whether the devotees could actually execute such a large production, a handful of stalwarts, Sadajit Sadajitwat Lal, Sada Sadajitwat Lal, Chandulal Bal, Kirtan Kartikeya Mahadeva, Kailash Saksaria, Ramachandra Chabriya, G.D. Somani, and others they would do their best to help raise the funds. Prabhupada remained actively involved and he warned his disciples to be wary of cheaters during their business transactions. Every night, the devotees would report to him and he would ask about many details. He wanted the best location, the best work, and the best price. He wanted to know everything. What about the cooking area? Are all the devotees working to their full capacity? Is the mailing list complete? Have the invitations being sent? What about the latrines? What was the cost for the sound system? He scrutinized every detail with sharp critical intelligence. Giriraj's fundraising work was going well. He had donations solicited from businessmen and had printed a sovereign pamphlet, but he was feeling a strain and he came to Prabhupada for solace. Can we use force in Krishna consciousness? He asked. Prabhupada frowned. No, we cannot use force. But what if we see one of the workers is lazy and the job and not doing what he is supposed to? No, Prabhupada replied, we can never use force. Well, what about in making life members? Force we cannot use, Prabhupada repeated, but we can trick them. He told a story about a boy who didn't want to do arithmetics. As soon as the teacher wrote 1 plus 1 on the board, the boy would bark, bang, bunk. So the teacher drew a picture of a cow on the board and asked the boy, if a man has one cow and then he buys another cow, how many cows will he have? The boy answered two. Thus the teacher began teaching him arithmetic even though he was unwilling to learn. So people may be averse to serving Krishna, Prabhupada explained, but we can trick them and give and get them to serve without their knowing it, but we can never use force. These people are all businessmen. They are always calculating profit and loss, but they are also pious and they want to go to Krishna. So you have to convince them that by giving this money, they will gain more, so much by coming closer to Krishna, and that is the truth. What they are convinced, then they, when they are convinced, then they will give. Prabhupada had ordered from Jaipur two sets of large white marble deities paid for by a donation from R.D. Birla. One set was to be installed in Bombay temple and the other worshipped at the Pandal and later sent to one of the temples in the west. But the devotees were anxious that the deities be finished and shipped on time, and there were other sources of anxiety right up until the very day of the festival. Pandal construction, prasadam distribution, seating arrangements, sound system, whether these things would be ready on time, whether there would be enough money remained uncertain. But under Prabhupada's direction, the devotees worked steadily with firm faith in Krishna, and all turned out successful, with 10,000 people attending the first day and 20,000 that night. The devotees, including those just arrived from the west, numbered about 100, and the last stage easily accommodated them with ample space for dancing kirtans. On stage, within a gorgeous golden domed altar surrounded by profuse flower arrangements, stood Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada's large red Vyasasan, covered by a canopy, stood at stage and enter center. Also on stage was a display of Prabhupada's book. The tall and spacious pandal, built to hold more than 30,000, was lined with fluorescent bulbs, and the stage glowed with colorful flashing lights. The program was Kirtan Prasadam, a lecture and slides, more Kirtan and more Prasadam. And the Bombayites, devotees at heart, despite their sophistication and westernization, loved these very things, Radha and Krishna, Kirtan and Prasadam, and that all this was being presented by Westerners made the Pandal especially attractive. The cooks prepared prasadam at the pandal site, cooking over a hard coal fire and using big paddles to stir khichdi and halwa on walks 8 foot across. Each night, the devotees would serve thousands of plates. Prabhupada's appearance in the evening was always the high point. He would sit on his Vyasasan. Little Saraswati would walk out and garland him, and the crowd would cheer. He would wait for the crowd to quieten, which never happened. So he would just begin speaking, his voice ringing over the powerful sound system. He titled his first lecture, Modern Civilization is a Failure, and the Only Hope is Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada sat, eyes half closed in the concentration, addressing the largest audience that had ever assembled to hear him. His speaking was particularly forceful, as he glorified Krishna and criticized the enemies of Krishna. He spoke against the government that were not Krishna conscious and against gurus who neglected the worship of Krishna. He stressed the necessity of teaching Krishna's message to the whole world, while his godbrothers from the Bombay Gaudiya Mutt sat in the audience listening respectfully. And you are practically seeing that all over the world, these Bhagavad Gita principles, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is being accepted. All these boys and girls who were dancing in Krishna consciousness 4 years ago, 4 years back, they never heard of Krishna. Of course, some of them knew Bhagavad Gita because Bhagavad Gita is very widely read. But because Bhagavad Gita was not properly presented, although for the last 100 or 200 or more than that years, Bhagavad Gita is widely read all over the world, there was not a single Krishna Bhakt. But since Bhagavad Gita is being presented as it is, within 4 years, there are hundreds and thousands of Krishna Bhaktas. That is our point, that you present the things as it is without any adulteration. So it is our mission. It is India's culture. People are hankering after this culture, Krishna culture. So you should prepare yourself to present Bhagavad Gita as it is. Then India will conquer all over the world by this Krishna culture. Rest assured. But we are hankering after help from others. Our government men go there in America. Please give us wheat. Please give us money. Please give us soldiers. Simply begging business. But here is the thing which you can give to them. Simply begging does not glorify your country. Giriraj. Prabhupada was preaching forcefully to the people of Bombay, and every evening the pandal was packed with at least 20,000 people. Srila Prabhupada would preach so strongly, emphasizing following religious principles. He knew that these people are Hindus, but they are not following these principles. Prabhupada was speaking so powerfully that I knew that what he was saying would be hard for many of the audience to accept. We have something to give to the whole world, that is Krishna consciousness. Why you neglect this treasure of Vedic knowledge? And the summarized knowledge is Bhagavad Gita. If we simply try to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, we understand immediately the signs of God. And because we are all parts and parcels of God, we are always hankering after uniting with God. That is our seeking. That is our seeking. Ananda Mayo Bhyasat. God is Anandamaya, by nature full of pleasure. And we, being part and parcel of God or Krishna, we are also Anandamaya. But we are seeking Ananda, pleasure, in a different atmosphere, in the material atmosphere. Therefore, we are being buffeted. The only remedy is that you take to Krishna consciousness will and you will be happy. So it is the duty of every Indian to understand this science. Giriraj. At that time, I was thinking that if Prabhupada had wanted to flatter the audience or compromise his philosophy, he could have attracted millions of followers. But because he was preaching so boldly and forcefully without compromise, many of the audience did not like it because it was a challenge to their sense gratification and to their sentiment. This is a science. It is not a dogmatic, bluffing thing. It is a science, and spoken by the Lord Himself, and understood by all the acharyas. Krishna says, Acharyopasana. We have to understand through things through the acharyas. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is not following the footsteps of Acharya, he cannot understand anything. Krishna also says, Tad Vijnanatham. That is said in Kathopanishad, Tad Vijnanatham Sagurum Avabhigachyat. Krishna says, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. So everywhere the same instruction is there. You approach a person who is coming in disciplic succession, Evam Parampara Praptam, and try to learn Bhagavad Gita as it is. Your life will be sublime. Your life will be successful. That is our mission. Giriraj, the fact is that people were wild about Prabhupada and ISKCON. One night we showed slides of Rath Yatra in San Francisco, and the audience was going wild. In front of 10,000 people, Prabhupada announced that we will hold Jagannath Rath Yatra in Bombay, and everyone started to cheer and applaud. Day after day, the Pandal festival was a success. Bombay's most important citizens came and were impressed. White-shirted businessmen, their well-groomed wives, joined in the chanting. For hundreds of thousands of Bombay citizens coming to the Cross Maidan to attend an evening Pandal program was easy enough. Some were intent on listening to the lectures and inquiring deeply into devotional service. Others came mostly to see the deity take prasadam or appreciate the kirtan. In any case, rose properly. In any case, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna devotees were a refreshing addition to the life of the city. It was the biggest public event in Bombay. One evening, Prabhupada conducted a Vedic marriage ceremony, Hare Krishna, and an initiation before thousands of people. The marriage was arranged between Vegavan, who was Swedish, and Padmavati Dasi, who was Australian. They completely enchanted the whole audience. She, with her ornate red sari and Indian jewellery, including a nose ring, and he was with his nice white dhoti and kurta and clean shaven head. Six brahmacharis were initiated at the same time also. Giriraj. The audience was impressed. First of all, they were amazed just to see foreign devotees, foreign sadhus. Then, on top of that, to see them being initiated, and even more than that, being married in front of 10,000 people. It was overwhelming. So, during the ceremony, as Srila Prabhupada made the boys and girls husband and wife, he mentioned that she was from Australia and he was from Sweden. Then Prabhupada said, This is the real United Nations. Everyone burst into applause. It was the most glamorous, world wonderful program. The first night of the festival, the devotees carried the deities of Radha and Krishna in a palanquin to the seaside. Prabhupada spoke and held kirtan before a crowd of 24,000. The next day, the Indian Express reported, fitting final to Hare Krishna festival. It was a grand, fitting final to the 11-day Hare Krishna festival which attracted thousands of devotees at Cross Maidan in South Bombay. The decorated murtis of Radha and Krishna were taken in procession on a regal ratha from the venue through Dirgom Road to the Chaupati in the evening. Dozens of Nam Sankirtan mandalas from all over the city spearheaded the procession with loud and ecstatic chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, followed by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in an elegant horse-drawn coach chanting. Crowds chanting Hare Krishna on the roadsides as the Ratha was pulled by devotees along the route. At Chaupati, the 4 foot tall deities, splendidly dressed and decorated with jewels and garlands, were displaying on their magnificent Simhasana throne donated to the Hare Krishna movement by Madhav Bhaug Mumba Devi temples. During the celebrations, Prabhupada spoke from the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam daily morning and evening. More than 30 of his foreign disciples conducted kirtan, artik, and film shows in specially erected pandals. Prabhupada will deliver his final public message to the citizens before leaving in a few weeks on a preaching tour of the major cities of Russia. Bombaites would not soon forget the Hare Krishna festival, and a letter from Prabhupada to the ISKCON life members pledged that it had been only the beginning. By the grace of their lordships, Sri Radha and Krishna, our recent festival in Cross Maidan exhibition ground has been counted a grand success, and quite noticeably, the spirit of bhakti has been actively revived in Bombay. My blessings go especially to all of you who have joined with us in the service. As you may know, my plan is to establish this most auspicious city a unique international Krishna conscious training center where hundreds of persons from abroad may be educated in the Vedic way of life, while at the same time Indian boys and girls may be trained up for prachar, preaching work in foreign countries. We will construct classrooms, workrooms, dormitories, kitchen for large scale public prasadam distribution, and a lecture hall library and a beautiful temple for the glorification of Radha and Krishna. We are on the threshold of bringing this important project to fruition, and we are very excited to inform you the progress made in this respect. You all agree with me that your active participation and your direct involvement in this is most essential, and hence I appeal to you to spare your valuable time for Krishna and make it a point, in spite of your extremely busy life, to extend your unstinted cooperation. It is proposed to hold a meeting on Monday, the 26th April 1971 at 6:30 p.m. Akash Ganga, 7th floor, 89 Bulabhai Desai Road, Bombay 26, to discuss and to finalize plans to channel our united energies to achieve the goal. It will also be a great opportunity for like-minded Krishna conscious devotees to meet, to have darshan of the deities, and to exchange views and suggestions to make rapid progress in spiritual life. I very much want to meet you again, so kindly make it a must to attend our meeting. There is a lot of ground to be covered to spread Krishna consciousness to millions and millions of our slumbering brothers and sisters. That so many were accepting ISKCON and the Sankirtan movement as bona fide testified to the purity of Srila Prabhupada's presentation of Lord Krishna's teachings. His teachings were not sectarian, they were meant for everyone all over the world. He was teaching love of Krishna, the universal principle for all humanity. In his lectures at the Pandal, he had lamented that although India was known as the land of religion where God consciousness had traditionally permeated society, India's leaders were becoming atheists and communists. Whether whether Indians polluted by the madness for sense gratification and confused by a hodgepodge of pseudo religious teachings could still recognize and adopt the real thing remained to be seen. But at least in Bombay, the Pandal program had a great effect. Of that, Prabhupada felt satisfied. The program had been the same program he had introduced everywhere, chanting, dancing, taking prasadam, worshipping the deity, hearing about Krishna. It was Lord Chaitanya's program adopted slightly according to the particular circumstances, but Lord Chaitanya's program nonetheless. This Sankirtan was the only possible remedy for the disease of a modern society, yet people were reluctant to take the remedy. Prabhupada therefore had labeled the bottle. The medicine was unchanged, but he had labeled it attractively a gala evening of entertainment, music, and refreshments featuring the youth of America and Europe transformed into Vaishnavas. The labeling was simple, non deceptive. Everyone in Bombay knew well that the Hare Krishna Pandal festival was a product of their own Vedic heritage. They were fully aware that the Hare Krishna leader was a great acharya in the ancient tradition, but it had come to them in such a spectacular and attractive way that they had become caught up in it. Madhutwisa. No one really thought Prabhupada was leaving India. In India, Prabhupada was the cutting edge of the whole movement. He was the force. Things were moving because of Prabhupada. In the Western world, Prabhupada would give the idea and the devotees would expand on it. Prabhupada was the overseer, but he didn't have to have such an integral, active part in the West. But in India, Prabhupada was right in the thick of it. He was checking the accounts. He was so much involved in the Indian scene that Rishi Kumar, the Bombay treasurer, would have to go to Prabhupada every day and show him the accounts. He was very much involved in everything. The whole movement in India depended on Prabhupada. Because of this, no one thought that Prabhupada would really leave us. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna. Mhm.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is again a nice chapter wherein in the first part, I somehow got the feeling as if we are in Prabhupada lecture. He was directly talking about Mahamantra and this Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Madhav, and explaining and everything. And yes, and then the second part, it is somehow where we are when we also want to preach and take our moments. So yeah, yeah, so many things. The way he wrote the letter
Mhm.
uh, to the life members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, this is very nice observation. Every session when we are reading through this, yeah, the direct words of Prabhupada are so powerful that Prabhupada is presenting the the purpose in a very powerful way, with no compromise, with no hitting behind the bushes or around the bushes, no nothing like that. He was challenging, yeah, whoever had dogmatic principles, and he is challenging and he's going forward. So, like for example, mm, we recently have done this Sri Ram Navami, and then
Mm,
somehow there are some people who are interested, right? Who joined, who
mm,
came, who attended. Yeah. So if we just see how Prabhupada had turned this Bombay event into such a success, and we see that our program, yeah, how to make it successful, some ideas are already here, yeah, that writing them, reaching out to them, this is what Prabhupada did,
mm,
but he didn't compromise in his message, and at the same time he is saying he's already giving some tips. Yeah, one example was never force. Yeah,
mm,
never force is one thing, but he also says how to still make a win-win situation. If people feel that, oh, there is a win for them, then only they will come. That will be a win for us. So we need to find how to project that properly. What is the
yeah.
gain they will get, not what we are getting. That is one thing. And uh, there was the opening itself was what was it? Yeah, there was when Prabhupada, I like this also, when
Lava.
Prabhupada initiated
Hmm.
Niranjan Das, yeah. So he was asking the questions, and yeah, Prabhupada was very, very like fatherly. He was telling, answering everything, but he didn't compromising. No, 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 it's very easy, casual thing. No, he made it very clear that when it comes to following the principles, we should follow. Uh, and again, recently we were hearing from Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj about the war against the Maya, right?
Hmm.
Some material energy. So here Prabhupada's words are also that yeah, we are showing that by that we are showing to Krishna that we are ready, we are his servants. So criticism in this preaching is to be accepted, yeah, to show our commitment, our servitude to Krishna. This is one. Yeah, so many things. I mean, how many weeks did we miss this Prabhupada-līlāmṛta? 3 weeks, I think, or
Yeah,
so.
2 weeks.
Only
2 weeks,
two
yes,
weeks, huh?
for sure. Yeah, but it
More
feels
than
long,
that.
long time.
Only 2 weeks, huh? Okay. Big gap. Yeah, tell me. You were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying it is 2 weeks, but still it feels like a long, long time to
Hmm.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah. So that made us like, okay, yeah, I think while I was reading, I was feeling okay. Even if we finish this whole Prabhupada-līlāmṛta, we
Notice
should
this.
again
His
repeat reading,
messaging
reading,
is
reading.
very
Sorry, someone is speaking, or sorry, did I interrupt someone?
Prabhuji, sorry, I think there's some internet connection from my end. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm just checking. Can you speak now?
Yeah. Am I clear now, Prabhuji?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So my thought was like, his messaging is very, very, simple, and he explains the complicated concepts very simply, right? For example, this Achinta, Chinta, Beda, he compares it to Birla's factory, and it's very easy, easy to understand. I've been breaking my head. I also asked Keshav Maharaj, but this thing was very easy, Prabhuji. So
Yeah.
and also his marketing skills, right? Like he kind of said, okay, we have to package the whole thing in a different way. So my God, he's truly a, I don't know, unimaginable Prabhuji. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we may think saintly people means they are very reserved and they're very conservative, uh, and old school fashion.
Hare Krishna.
But Prabhupada, yeah, he's revolutionized that. I mean, and here also we see that he just presented Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Yeah, there is no difference. It is still dancing, singing, the five elements: singing, dancing, prasadam, katha, darshan, same thing. But and he said, if we do this, then our program is successful. Even once Sachinandan Maharaj was saying that in Rath Yatra, uh, the success of Rath Yatra is what? Prasadam distribution. What is that, Rupa? Second one? Kirtan. Hmm? Kirtan and Prasadam distribution. When we have these two things, then it will be a success. Hmm? So, and of course, Darshan of Jagannath is we 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 can see how he attracts so many. That's very fascinating. So in that way, wherever we have this katha, kirtan, and prasadam, if these are our three most powerful weapons, uh, and it is not just a strategy. It's not just a marketing strategy like, okay, people will come for eating, that's why we do prasadam distribution. No, it is actually we are distributing mercy of the Lord. So there are people who are really looking for mercy, but they don't know how they will get what it means mercy. Mercy means prasadam. So in that way, prasadam also attracts also people. And katha, after attracting people after coming, na, because if we don't have the katha, we may just go here and there and may not be appreciate the prasadam, the mercy that's coming. After hearing katha, that digests, that calms down to focus on it. Hmm. So in that way, yeah, we should do many programs like this. If our calendar is full, right, at least one such festival per month. That is the way that we can really make a lot of devotees. If we have annual festival, one annual festival, it gets quite diluted. We should have, yeah, we should have a series of different names, different packages. Once it shouldn't be like every time it is same thing. No, it should be like a different things based on time, place, circumstance, need. So that way we can attract. Yeah, we should do that. We should start. Yeah, the next event, Rath Yatra is going on, calling everyone, at least who are close by, they can come. And that's how, actually, Rath Yatra is successful mainly because uh, people can join not once, they can go in, participate more Rath Yatras. The other day, I don't know with whom we were talking, we were thinking like, okay, we should all meet and come up with a proper strategy, who can do what and what is what, all these things, then only we can make a good impression in people that they can come. There are people, it's like that, their heart is touched by the programs that we do, but as soon as something else comes up, that immediately, yeah, makes people forget. They may have the experience, but because they have so many things to worry, until they come to a point that there is no use of worrying, no use of worrying. Actually, we have to keep on, yeah, bringing it. Bring this mercy to them, mercy to them. Then only it will work. Yeah, so be ready. I think we are handful. Just like in that time, Prabhupada had few devotees, few disciples who were in Bombay, but he made still a successful project for thousands, 20,000 people joined. Let's do something at least if 100 people join. Huh? That itself is a offering that we can give it to Prabhupada. Yeah, it's a nice point. Yeah, when by the time of Prabhupada appearance day comes, let's make a target of what we can offer to him. Yeah. Yes. Anyone want to share anything? Adhirasa Prabhu, thanks for posting. Yeah, I was thinking, okay, are we going to join that or this? But I think after reading even just few lines, I felt no, whatever parallel programs will be there, still we can cover it later, but we can make this still our routine.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji, for conducting. Yeah, we can see if you want to shift the time to Thursday, like you said. So yeah, please check.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, are we not able to follow up later? Because I don't know whether we are having we are not asking. I think the opportunity to really ask something in an interactive session of that meeting, right? I don't know, we are doing it. And if it is just hearing, I think we can also follow up, right, later. Hmm? We don't know, no? But anyway, our Thursday is still free. We can do the Thursdays, 7 o'clock. Is that okay? Hmm?
Yeah, yeah, we can see if it's okay for everybody. So,
Yeah, let's do the following. Let's post it for next session on Thursdays. Let's see how many will join. Yeah, who are missing, then we can talk and try to understand.
Uji, on Thursdays from 7 to 8, I have Prabhupada-līlāmṛta reading with the UK group, Prabhuji. So that's
So
the only
anyway, you
time.
are having it, so you continue there then.
But that does not happen regularly, Prabhuji. So I will shift between.
What time is that? Same time, 7 to 8?
Yeah, 7 to 8, Prabhuji, our time. So yeah.
Same time.
Yeah. But yes, Prabhuji, I will.
Friday, what about an hour early? 6 to 7? 6 to 7 is okay?
Not
Or
like
Yes, yeah. At least for home office people would be okay.
No, Prabhuji, for me, it would be little bit, yeah, may be able to join or may not be.
Mhm.
But let's see how it goes. We can try.
Mhm. So until we finalize, let's go on with the same Friday. And meanwhile, also let's see, try to understand what I don't know whether this kind of tribute program will go for a long time. And also if main speakers or depending, I was thinking depending on the speaker, the questions also will come, right? And for example, if it is Nitai Padakamal Prabhu, if he is speaking, the questions may not be as much if it is talking with Indradana Maharaj is speaking. So let's see. As of now, I will just keep it as it is then. Fridays. Fine with
Yes,
everyone here? Yeah. How many of us are okay with as it is? Okay. Amazing. Ram Raghav Prabhu is in front of me then, but there is a thumb raising. Ratiketi Mata is joined. Okay. Okay then. Yes, Mataji. I thought some ghost.
Yeah, from both.
Ghosts of Bon are dangerous.
But we should be fearless.
Sorry?
Fearless is the
Less
thing.
dangerous. Okay.
Fearless.
Yeah. There are also angels in Bon. So not only ghosts. So both are invisible.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta ki jai, Satsvarup Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Panchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Satish Prabhu, you are coming tomorrow to temple?
yes, Prabhuji, I'm coming, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. But they are not the parties to discuss.